So what we did, we combined 3 universities and 3 consulting companies, like bridging research and practice. I will also see if there's something in the chat. So why we did it, why we decided to combine research and practice is because in the business side, we were very tired with receiving from our clients the request, please deliver 2 days or 2 hours training to develop intercultural competence. And if you can measure this before and after, it would be great. So, you know, this kind of mission impossible, this doesn't work like this. And we said, okay, we know that it doesn't work like this, but we need a proof. So we have to prove them that this is impossible, but we also can help them with research to explain how companies can do better dealing with the cultural complexity, cultural dynamics in their organizations. So this is our statement. So we believe that this intercultural competence training needs a transformative shift. So there are still many trainers, they just agree with the clients and they deliver what the clients want, but in fact, mostly the objectives are over-promising. So when consultants are sending proposals, they promise more than they really can deliver, right? So in order to change this, to bring this transformation, make it happen, we know we have to raise more awareness and among all key decision makers. So it's not only about the companies and people who are asking us for our services, but also in the field of intercultural training or diversity, equity, inclusion consulting. So we have to, this awareness has to be spread. We hope that with the help of technology and AI, and also social innovation 4.0, we are getting these objectives and we create a methodology that ensures sustainable learning outcomes. So this project is 2 years project and we already have done the research, so literature review, questionnaires and interviews, and Alex Ray in a second with Svetlana will present our findings. We are now about to finish the design of the assessment, and this is where we are going to also pick up your amazing brains on site and online. Exactly, we are presenting this here together with at this conference co-organizing also by Theater Polska. We started the piloting in June, and we invite everyone who is interested in piloting in your organizations, because some of you are working in multinational organizations, or doesn't matter if it's multinational or not, but you can pilot it in your company. Or if you are a consultant, you can pilot it with your clients, okay? And then we will include your feedback, your suggestions, and in October, this tool should be perfectly ready to apply in organizations. At the same time, we are designing now the self-assessment, but we already started a research on intercultural competence training, and we are collecting best practices. We did it yesterday during the World Cafe also. Then together and based on the research, we are going to design this learning path for this new methodology. And good news, so in September 2026, we are going to publish the Handbook of Intercultural Competence Training that include also a web-based app. We have our partner who is going to develop today with us also. Yeah, and we hope that we really bring change. The good thing is it will be free and available for everyone because it's yeah. Okay. Okay, so the methodology. Yes.
Yep. So we'll be presenting from.
Yeah, and I have a question. Yeah, I think it's the best place. My question is if you can hear us well online. People online, can you hear us well? Okay, Manuel, thank you for the feedback. Yeah, super. And yeah, I will sometimes check the, yeah, thank you.
So this part is about the preliminary research that we've been doing, and with Svetlana, so we're representing here the Université Bourgogne-Europe, one of the academic partners, but really we need to underline that this is research which has been carried out by everybody in the whole consortium, but we're just presenting the results.
Yes, this research actually was initially 80 plus pages. Now it is condensed to 40 pages of literature review, which actually is a result of studying more than 80 academic sources and including 12 models of intercultural competence analyzed and compared. Besides literature review, we had a survey and a set of interviews. So surveys were conducted in 5 countries, which are represented in the Elevate project: France, Luxembourg, Spain, Germany, and Poland. And 243 participants representing different types of companies, public, private, NGOs, took part as in-house employees, and 88 consultants, international, intercultural competence trainers and consultants. And besides this survey, we wanted to have a more deep conversation, and interviews helped us with that. So we conducted 40 interviews which focused on the real world situation in companies, in organizations, concerning diversity, what challenges the companies have and how they deal with it.
So onto the results. So we heard from Dala Dirov this morning about intercultural competence, and this is where we started. We started sort of trying to look at, okay, what could organizational intercultural competence mean? What could this be for an organization? And so the research, the desk research notably sort of helped us narrow this down. And so traditional approaches to intercultural competence were based typically on individual level traits, so the skills, attitudes, and knowledge that Dala was talking about this morning, with an evolution really in the literature, which was then more towards maybe a relational approach, meaning that you don't have competence once and for all. As Dala was saying, you can't get a certificate that lasts for life, but it's about being considered competent by other people, so in different relationships, in different contexts. And so this then has been kind of maybe one of the key evolutions in the field. And this idea as well that intercultural competence research tends to focus on difference quite a lot. So navigating difference, either difference seen as a barrier, there's going to be problems, or in some cases, difference seen as a source of creativity, so something which is positive for the organization and which leads to innovation. However, we encountered in the literature review maybe a couple of difficulties here when we tried to upscale this to the organization. The first, the fact that if this is relational, how do we then assess it? Because it's very context bound, it's very situation bound. And then what does it mean to talk about organizational intercultural competence? This wasn't really present in the literature we found, and it was quite difficult to kind of think, okay, so if we're thinking now in terms of relations between individuals, how can we scale this up? So what also came out of the literature review was this idea that culture is something which should be seen as a process, so something which is dynamic, which emerges from interactions between people. It's linked to our identities. So we have national cultures, professional cultures, and so on. Cultures linked to different sectors of activities, different generations, but even within particular teams. But it shouldn't be limited to defining who people are once and for all. You don't just have one culture, or you don't just have static cultures, but culture is something which you develop through your interactions and in different contexts and situations. And so we also move towards this notion of negotiated cultures from Brennan and Salk, which is a concept of suggesting, theorizing how these cultures kind of develop from the interactions people have, which is quite similar to the concept of communities of practice from Etienne Wenger, for those of you that know that. The idea that these little groups of people develop their own cultures in professional settings. And all of this kind of led us to maybe take a step back from this intercultural competence per se and move towards this other approach of transcultural communication or competence, which we can move to for the next slide, is more about this kind of dynamic processual approach. So here the reference is to Grunfelder and Monteginas Baumann, who are in a partner which is now joining Elevate, and we're going to be moving forward and building on this, this model. And the idea of the trans is kind of beyond. So it's going beyond these kind of more static, difference-based visions of culture and seeing communication and relations developing in contexts based on various elements which come from culture, but which then create something new. So we've moved the focus from identity-based categorizations of difference, so it's not just putting people in boxes and seeing how they're different, to a kind of relational co-creation of meaning. People are constructing meaning together through their relations. So this is contextualized, situated, and importantly, it involved power relations, because an organization is full of power relations. And how do these limit people's freedom to speak, and so on and so on. So this approach recognizes cultures as emergent, not static. They evolve through interactions, as I've been saying. And the idea is that in order to then move forward with this to the assessment stage and development stage, we need to think about how an organization can become conscious of this complexity and how we can accompany people in becoming aware of it and better involving it in their interactions. Mm-hmm. Do you want to next slide? So just on the on the other, so that was the desk research. On the other results for the research, moving on to the surveys.
Yes, so the field studies, so to say, we had the surveys and interviews, which focused mainly on cultural diversity in organizations. So people shared what they know, what they see, what they experience in their everyday work in organizations. So some main key findings. First of all, there is a strategic disconnect. So most employees, well, many employees do agree that cultural diversity is a competitive advantage for an organization, but they don't see any formal strategies or policies mostly in their organizations. They say that initiatives are either informal or even symbolic, and there's a lack of strategic integration. We also followed the correlation between company size and their cultural diversity strategies, if cultural diversity is in the strategy. And yes, we see that only large organizations and internationally exposed organizations have this. In most companies, well, not most companies, so dedicated special functions or roles in organizations are quite rare. It's mostly in HR responsibility. Employees and consultants agree that there is practically no assessment of cultural diversity in organizations. As for motivations, they say that it is mostly corporate social responsibility of an organization. And it's important to say that strategic advantage of it is under-leveraged, as our surveys and interviews show. Of course, organizational maturity correlates strongly with the company size and international exposure.
And so clearly these are results which were based on our survey sample. And obviously, you know, these are general trends, so we can find exceptions and so on. But we thought it was important for the project to have this snapshot to really be kind of seeing how best to insert into the current state of affairs.
Right, so some of the challenges that were identified during the interviews and the survey. So there are some legal limitations on collecting diversity data. For example, in France, there's legislation which prohibits asking people about their ethnicity. Some partners, especially in Luxembourg, underline the importance of lingual diversity, linguistic diversity. So there are obviously gaps in training access. So not all people in all functions have access to trainings. They are limited mostly to managers. So there is obviously a demand for a tool. They all expressed a wish to have such a tool, which would be user-friendly. And so the support should be really affordable and very, very business-oriented, of course, for them, short. And yes, so we were talking about long time learning, but companies really, well, employees underline that it's important for them to be short and simple to use. Yes, some of the strategic recommendations. So yes, it's obvious, I mean, in this room that cultural competence should be embedded in the core strategy. Multi-level assessments are recommended. Transcultural learning, we are going to develop the tool to help organizations explore their awareness and their situation. This tool should encourage reflection, team dialogue, co-creation, empathy, and shared problem solving. Yes, so context is crucial, relational approach, as we found out, and we should underline that we probably with this tool should not measure diversity, but collaboration.
Yeah, so what was the last one, right?
Yes.
Thank you very much. And
This is going to be the tool. Yeah. So Alex and Svetlana already mentioned the idea of transcultural competence and going beyond and focusing on collaboration, and that to spread this all over the organization. So our idea is to have a tool that we are going to call like self-assessment tool for transcultural competence, and it's 3 elevated to 3. Okay, it's elevate is I think it's raised to 3 technically, but we are going to say it's 3 elevated to 3, okay? And even though it's called self-assessment, the final objective or what we want to provoke in organizations is really to start a dialogue on these ideas, on these terms, to start a dialogue. I can do it myself. No, it's okay. So it's to start an open dialogue that could lead to a diagnosis of where is this in the organization, what is our level, maturity level, to start a dialogue mainly, to that turns out into a diagnosis, and then especially that will lead the organization to move forward, okay? Depending on where it's their starting point, well, they will have different recommendations and some guidance, okay? But this is the objective of the tool, more than just receiving a score or a certain message, because as Alex said previously, the idea is not to have a once and for all measurement, not for people, not for organizations, okay? So this is a way to inspire movement and moving forward in this inclusion and the initiatives, okay? So now, the first 3 is 3 elevated to 3. And we are going to look for collaborations, patience, and how things are done in the purpose, in the why of the company, the purpose, the strategy, the business orientation, the values, okay? Values and alignment, the processes, the systems and the structures. I mean, when we are working in our marketing process, innovation process, where is this embedded? How this collaboration occur, and if we could find these ideas and in what maturity level in the structures, in the processes, and then the practices, referring to behaviors and informal, mostly informal workplace norms. Okay, so this will be translated into specific statements, items, and companies should reflect on which reflect best their reality. Okay, so this is what we are analyzing, what we are reviewing. And then we have these 3 dimensions could be in different maturity levels or stadiums. So we have some companies might be in an initial position, just to start in this. So they recognize, and Alex, you can jump in, please, if I'm not saying it correctly, but the idea is that there is a recognition that there are different cultures in the organization, that they work and combine and they live together. But the approach is mainly that, okay, this could be be careful, just be careful, because this could be a source of misunderstanding and conflict. So this is an initial state. We are aware, but the way we deal with it, it's like, be careful, okay? Some other companies might be in an integration state, meaning that, yeah, diversity is there, we recognize it, but it's not only, might be a source of conflict, but let's also see it as a source of creativity and a source for innovation. I mean, we are one step ahead, no? Cultures coexist, but we can take advantage of them and not see this scenario just as a source of conflict, okay, and problems. And then the next idea, and the most evolved one, would be the idea of iteration, which means that not only we see that there are different cultures living together, but they are creating their own culture. I mean, as it is something evolving, and which really leads us to belong in an identity, we are going to create our culture of our own, composed by all the different cultures we already found in the company. So we create one of our own, we identify with, and that creates belonging in the workforce. And this culture is evolving itself. It's not static, it's not done and agreed once and for all, but the idea of iteration. And something changes, and the new collaboration style works better, we keep on changing and adapting our culture to what best fits us as an organization.
Maybe just the idea of sort of multiplicity in there. There's not just one culture of the organization, but all the different
cultures, yeah.
And so even if the organization has values which are sort of globally the path we're following, different areas develop.
They could be lived in a different way. Okay. Yeah, so it's 3 dimensions elevated to 3 maturity levels. So every organization could fit in some of these grids. Okay, so depending on where you think the items or the ideas behind these 3 dimensions best reflect your reality, you would be positioning yourself in, okay, I'm an active alignment, or I have ad hoc practices, but I don't really have a developed strategy or whatever, okay? And the goal or the outcome, or the good part of this is not to be in a place or another. I mean, the idea is that you will receive recommendations on how to move to the next level of maturity, depending on where you are. So general recommendations, but also some guidance and templates to specify your concrete actions that are really the best ones or the most suitable ones for your company. So the idea, it's not that important where you are here, where you can position yourself, but how to move forward. And that the tool will inspire these next steps, okay? So,
And the, yeah.
Okay.
So, we have an activity but I will stop for a moment. Also, we want to give us if are completing the assessment tool. It's not individual; they have to do it with other people, within teams. We create, or they create, the space for reflection and talking about this really meaningful aspects of diversity and inclusion. So the tool itself is already helping them to reflect on what is going on and create the space. And this is what normally we hear from our clients, that they don't talk about it. So there is a diversity and inclusion strategy on the website, but people don't talk about it. So reflecting actively is already gaining awareness. And you could see our challenge is that we have different challenges, because first, the concept of culture is mostly understood as like countries, nations, regions. And we, as Marta Maznewski is saying, that we should commit more to what we preach, and also defend better the concept of culture and culture. So there's not only one culture, there is, we belong to many different cultures at the same time. So this is one. The second is the transculturality, so transcultural. We've been probably raised, like most of us who are trainer consultants and educated, with the idea of intercultural competence. And now we introduce this thanks to other people and research, and we're trying to understand also, and we are still in the process of understanding what this transcultural really means, because we know, okay, it means beyond, it means creating commonalities. That we know that the unit of analysis now is a relation, our relations. So we look at the relations, but we are still assimilating what it really means, and especially this developing or emerging of new cultures. How can we observe it? How can we describe it? So this is also the challenge.